Welcome back to the third to final episode of Black Seinfeld, the show about nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
That was 50 Cent, Mini Men, off of the debut album known as Get Rich or Die Tryin', one of my favorite songs of all time. My name is Giovanni Anglin, Trinidadi, Panamanian Poppy, Rude Boy, Top Gunner, Suck Panyamada, Giovanni Anglin. Hi, everyone.
Yo, what's going on, folks? It's Bastion. This is recording live from LA. Geo is in Brooklyn, New York. Back with another episode of Black Seinfeld, show about absolutely nothing. And if you want to find our stuff, check it at blackseinfeld.com. As Geo said, this is our third to last episode.
Correct, yes.
So 2 more episodes after this one. But if you still want to follow us, because we will still be doing Black Seinfeld, but on a later date, we will still have our podcast. You go on blackseinfeld.com, and you'll be able to see our YouTube channel and our newer episodes. And then we are on social medias at Instagram, Twitter, at blackseinfeldny. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at blackseinfeldny@gmail.com. But yeah.
That's right. Thank you very much, Bastion. How are you feeling today? You look healthy.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Feeling fine. Relaxing most of the time. The weather has been getting a little bit better out here, so it's hotter. So normally in the morning time, like unlike jacket or hoodie will be pretty good. Like you won't be sweating in it. But now the sun is just really hitting and beaming, so sometimes I don't feel like wearing that sweater or hoodie. But the weather's been a little bit better out here. Yeah.
I can also say the same about us here in New York, because now it's going to be in the high 50s. I believe Friday we're going to be at as high as 60 degrees as well. So getting in that warm weather, to all of my people that are listening to this right now over in Long Island City, you're welcome. That is my last gift to you before I leave over in Long Island City. It's a lot. It's been very busy for me. It's been very hectic for me this week, Bastion, because this is the week where I'm finishing up most of my work, my full-time job, my Saturday job here at BAI. So it's been very hectic. And so, I mean, I was keeping this under wraps, but everyone's been talking about it. So I guess it's only fitting for me to talk about it here right now, because one, I'm not used to this kind of love. That's just how I am. I'm just not used to all the attention. I'm more of a person that doesn't like to draw attention on myself. And go figure, we have this podcast, but that's whatever. I'm more of a person that likes to. I don't like to spread my business out there like that. I like to move in silence and violence, as Biggie said, and I like to just disappear. But since I tell one person, then everyone it just spreads like wildfire. So I guess I learned a lesson there. But I don't know how I feel about getting all this love, because I'm not used to it. I was talking about this in therapy. I don't know how I should feel about this. Like, I love it, but at the same time, it's just very new for me. And I guess I'm realizing that I meant a little bit more to people than what I initially thought.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I think the best way to understand the feeling is like when you're no longer in that moment. So when you even reflecting 1 month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, you will understand those feelings a lot better, because I've gone through what you've gone through before, leaving a position and going to do something new. And then as I'm on my way out, I get a lot of like love and support and great words of encouragement. And that's kind of different, because you don't know how to take that. It's like, it's all coming from a good heart. It's never truly any disrespect. They just want,
Right.
Everybody just wants the best. So yeah.
Right. And as that final day is coming, especially for my last full-time job at where I'm at right now, it's going to be this Friday. So by the time I upload this, it's going to be my last day for all you podcast listeners. Um, I don't know, like for a while, I'm like trying to cry, but it's not happening right now. It's not. I was talking about this in therapy. Like, it's like I'm trying to cry here, but like I can't. But I feel the emotion. I just can't. It's been a while since I've cried, You know what I'm saying? Like the last time I cried was graduation. Talked about this. It was graduation, right? And my dad was there. And for those of you who are fortunate enough to have your fathers in your life, especially father figures that you view as very strong and masculine and like they
Discipline.
just know how to do everything,
Yeah.
right? You very rarely see your father cry, right? And so once I graduated from York, right, and he saw me at the cap and gown, and my name was called twice, by the way, because that's psychology, you know what I'm saying? Um, like he just embraced me, and it was a nice, warm embrace of, and once I saw him, right, once we like pulled away, like he started crying, and I was like, holy crap! So I've never seen this man cry in my back then 22 years of life. I've never seen this man cry ever. Okay, and so that made me cry because I was like, damn, I really made him proud. For the first time in my life, I feel like I really made this man proud.
Yeah, that's an interesting feeling to go through. But like I said, savor it, stay in the moment, and you're going to reflect on this later on. But
Definitely.
yeah, that's a very interesting week you're going. I'm not even doing much this week besides playing Fire Emblem. Uh, putting a lot of
I'm so,
hours in that game. It's a really good game, especially when you get
I,
into the series. Fire Emblem
I'm so,
Engage. It's my third
that's
Fire
on the
Emblem game.
Nintendo series, right?
Yeah, it's a Nintendo Series game. I think 2 years ago I was playing Three Houses on the Switch as well, which is also a fun game, but I didn't put a lot of effort in the new game plus mode. So this time around, put a lot of energy in it because Nintendo had their Switch Direct today. So they
Oh,
finally opened pre-orders for the new Breath of the Wild game that's coming
oh,
out in May. So that's like another game I'm gonna put like a lot of hours in. So just trying to get back
okay.
into that mental video game mode. Should be interesting.
Well, I am surprised. Well, not so much surprised, but you're not one of the millions because every time I'm on TikTok, I've seen memes about this game. All right, especially the fact that there's a special killing spell that's been added to this game, and so I've seen a lot of memes of people going to be menaces on this game. It's one of the most controversial games I've ever seen in modern gaming, and that is the new Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game. Um, I know a lot of people bought this game. I know a lot of people are protesting this game. Um, I know you didn't get the game, which
I don't have a
I know
system to play it.
I know you don't have a system, but like we are Harry Potter we're fans of the Harry Potter wizarding world.
hmm
So I actually never got to ask you like where do you stand on the game?
Um, all right. My experience on playing Harry Potter games has been iffy.
Okay.
Chamber of Secrets for the GameCube,
Of course.
good game,
Classic.
classic. There is a game to it because there is a story based aspect to the movie itself. Then I also played Goblet of Fire for the PSP.
Hmm.
Also, like there's a story based aspect to that in the movie because you're playing a game, Quidditch Cup. There's things to do in between, like going to fight the dragon and everything. So it makes sense to be a game. I personally don't think it would be a great game without time and experience and world building.
Mm.
Now the reason a lot of people are protesting because J.K. Rowling has been just out here self counseling herself. Uh, never. It's really like in the turf opinion the same. Pretty much everything that's going on with Dave Chappelle, she went through that 2 years prior
Right.
before everything that Dave Chappelle is doing. So a lot of people are feeling a little bit upset. Harry Potter has been their childhood for a long time, and now a video game where you could build yourself to be a main character in said series, and then play around with the magic, more complex than the previous games that I explained. Maybe as Lego Star Wars isn't as not Star Wars. Lego Harry Potter isn't that complex of a game, but there's things to do. I do have that game myself, so a lot of people don't know how to feel about it. I could
Exactly.
say do whatever you want, but understand what you're supporting at the same time. I don't think a lot of the money is going straight to J.K. Rowling, but at the same time, it's
right?
like it's a series that you put so much time and effort in. It's really
Yeah.
difficult to explain like what you should do and should not do. I'm not that type of person, but I as long as you
Hey,
understand and you're willing to support any type of issue, then yeah.
that's that's a fair observation. I saw a lot of videos of reasons why you should not support this video game and reasons why it's okay to support this video game. Um, People that are pro the video that are pro this game, I see the reason why they want to support is because they want to support the developers that develop such an open world, wizarding world game where you actually get to put yourself in the game. I see a lot of people talking about how the hair textures in the game, especially for our people, because it is Black History Month. It it is a bit diverse. I have been seeing that as well, and I seen some the fades look tight. I'm not gonna lie, the fades do look good in the game. Um, I do see the anti Hogwarts Legacy game as well because, of course, as you just said, J.K. Rowling has been wilding, and so um, d- by de facto supporting the game means you're just supporting J.K. Rowling. Um, and as you said, she isn't getting that much money off of the game, but since it's still her creation, her concept, and they're using her ideas and basically her her
Books,
IP,
yeah, that
yeah, her
IP,
books,
Warner
and
Brother IP as well.
yeah, it's like a de facto thing, so, sort of like George Lucas with Star Wars. You know what I mean? Every Star Wars game, some of that money went over
To
to George
Lucas,
Lucas,
yeah, yeah.
to LucasArts, Lucasfilms. So I understand the um the tip for tat. I think also, I think if this is the battle to die on, if this is the hill you want to die on, I mean, I can't tell you what to do. You have every right to be offended if you want to support the game because hey, in 2000 you were 6 years old like Basha and I, and you just grew up loving Harry Potter and you grew up within that world, and now you want to put yourself in that world and you want to get housed over to Ravenclaw, come over to Ravenclaw squad, all right?
I heard some
And
complaints for Ravenclaw that there's not a lot of missions and side quests in it.
oh, that's some BS. Wait, hold up. Really?
Yeah, it was
They give Hufflepuff a lot more crap to do.
apparently, yeah, that was the joke. That's why I saw.
See? And this is why I'm sick. I'm sick of the Ravenclaw discrimination. Okay. I'm sick of this because all the Hufflepuff people, they want to be proud to be Hufflepuff when Hufflepuff, they were the laughing stock of the Harry Potter world.
In the beginning,
Okay.
yes.
In the beginning, no one wanted to be Hufflepuff. Okay. It was either Gryffindor or Slytherin. Meanwhile, Ravenclaw, we were just neutral. Like no one really cared about Ravenclaw like that. Ravenclaw was Sweden.
Mm.
Okay. It was just neutral. No one had any problems with Ravenclaw. No one had beef with Ravenclaw. It was the one neutral where, they can interact with any group because, it's Ravenclaw. We chill. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing Ravenclaw don't got that much missions to do. I don't like this and I don't appreciate this.
One thing about Harry Potter, as we're in this subject, as you get older and you see more adults kind of analyzing, it is a kid series first and
It is
foremost.
a kid series, of course.
Once you get into like an adult age, like I say, like 22 and up, you start analyzing this series and realize maybe there wasn't much thought into like the politics and the ideas of the world, because once you get into the world building, that's kind of when the series loses itself. The fight between good and evil super straightforward as time within itself, but once it gets to the world building, that's when you realize Harry Potter really has some bad politics and some bad ideas as well, because due to like how Harry as a character is, in the end, book 8, quote unquote, the play, he pretty much becomes a cop. So it's like, is that what you
You
are?
mean in the Cursed Child?
Yeah.
That doesn't count. That's not canon.
No, it is canon. It's canon. Don't no.
That's canon?
That's
Really?
she literally wrote the no. It's canon. Anyways,
I didn't even read it.
that's I read it, and that's pretty much what we could say about Harry Potter as a series. Like the way that he didn't really intervene with a lot of the mishaps going on, because he's not like Goku, right?
Mm.
right? There is no well thought out main character. It's still written in like, a kind of a white privilege text where it's like, oh, you're the chosen one and you're just going to do what's need to be done. So in the series where it's like, oh, Ron's family is poor, and
Hmm.
like this is different. I kind of disagree with this complaint. Like, oh, Harry never helped financially. It's like, no, they would never take money. They would never take money from him.
Right.
But like, there could be other situations where the character himself could have been shown to do nicer things. Instead, he's just average and more of a self-insert character for you and I to connect to as we read the book, right? Same thing for like most, like Twilight, for example. The main character is Bella, right? Or
Yeah. Kristen, whatever her face is.
yeah, but the main character is designed for you to be self-insert in, and that's what kind of why everybody's so connected to Harry Potter, because we all feel like we're him going through his journey. Of course, we wouldn't do the things he would do. Most of us would go
No,
a different
no.
direction, and that's kind of where the game comes into play. So it's a lot of
Right.
excitement. I could say Star Wars tried to do that too with SWTOR, but it just didn't pan out in terms of popularity the same way.
Hmm.
Final Fantasy is doing it. The World of Warcraft. Like these are all series where you could build yourself and intervene within the world, and that's
Well, the
that's
new
much I
Star
could
Wars
say about
series are
it.
sort of like that.
The new Star Wars,
The new Star Wars series, video games that's been coming out recently.
they've been more of a like a role player game, so it's not really
Exactly.
giving you choices compared to this series. There's no raids
That's fair.
and stuff.
That's
But
fair.
that's just video games for you. Like I said, like you can support it, you cannot. I personally, I played Harry Potter games growing up. I always thought they were always okay. There's not much you could do in that series. It's more. That's why I like Legend of Zelda, where it's complex and you could play for 200 hours, 500 hours, and still have things to accomplish. Compared to Harry Potter, where the book itself was never good at world building as you get older. And yes, it's a kid's book, but people that play games are associated with buying objects and any type of like fun things with these series are adults. People like you and me. The 28-year-old,
Yeah,
29, 30, 35, 40,
absolutely.
50, like
You know,
they're the ones that putting up the real money. So,
especially when it comes to like Star Wars and Harry Potter's, you got to think about how, these things came out when they were children.
yeah.
And so now that they're adults and they have the money to spend their money on all these kind of things like lightsabers and wands, and I saw someone with
I
the
spent
Nimbus 2000.
$600 on lightsabers, bro.
See?
Come on. I
I saw
spend a lot of bread. I don't
I
even
saw
have them here
someone
in LA with me. They're all in New York.
I saw someone also spend money on like a legitimate Nimbus 2000. I'm like, holy
It's
crap. One, it
beautiful.
looks
It's
cool.
really
It's
beautiful. It's
beautiful.
like good to
I would never
have.
spend my money on it, but
You
it
would.
looks cool as
No,
hell.
you would. You would.
I would.
If you had bread to collect stuff, you would buy that. You would just hang it
Listen,
somewhere over the fireplace in your quote unquote man cave next to your big 81-inch TV,
that would be the theater room, honestly. That would be the theater room. But hey, since we do have the Harry Potter store in New York, I went in only once to get butterbeer, and I was just looking at all the Ravenclaw merch, and I was just contemplating it because, I still have that connection with Harry Potter, but because this is New York and because this is a Harry Potter store, I expected everything to be a lot of money. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't buy anything for now, but it is there. And so when I'm ready, I will be going in to get just, maybe like a sweater or something
And
for
like I said, like I am still connected to it. I've been to Universal twice in Florida and here in California. Enjoyed Hogwarts pretty much aspect of Universal. Bought wands, um, butterbeer. I still enjoy it for what it is, but do I have to support it? There's nothing to support. It's not Star Wars. They're not gonna make more series, so the whole thing is the whole IP is kind of dead. So I don't think people really need to worry about like the growth of it, unless HBO does come out with the Harry Potter TV show, which they've been trying to do for the past 10 years. So other than that, there's not really much to worry about. Like the IP will eventually just die off and just go into distance and disappear. Not like Lord of the Rings disappear, more like Dune disappear, only some
Well,
people know
like,
about it.
well, Lord of the Rings hasn't really disappeared because there's always
No, no, no,
been
no. Lord of the Rings, I ain't say disappeared because it's forever. It's like the head canon to write your series books. It's the
right
book
because
to reflect on.
there's always been The Hobbit, and then there's that series on Amazon based off of Lord of the Rings too,
It's
and then
not
there's the
based
game.
on the Lord of the Rings.
It's not.
No, it's based on the Sumerian. Like I think I told you, it's like based on 20 pages, and that's it. Nothing out of those 20 pages.
Oh,
That's why it's a weird
well,
series. That's why I never spoke
like
about it
the
on the show.
basis came from Lord of the Rings, though. No.
Yeah, well then the Hobbit, sure, but Sumerian is like before the Lord of the Rings, the series, but it's based on 20 pages of that book. But that's it. That's pretty much all I want to talk about.
That's fair.
Like I
That's
said, the Harry Potter's IP has reached its canon because the world building was so bad compared
right.
to Star Wars.
Hmm.
If you watch Andor, please check out Andor. It's the most
I've heard so many
politically
good things
charged
about it.
show that you could really choose sides on. It's very fun. That's world building. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like it doesn't matter if you support it or not. It's dead. There's nothing going for it really. You're gonna enjoy the game for 3 months and stop playing once the new Zelda game comes out for the Switch. Okay, people, that's my answer.
Um, Before we get into the next little break song of the week, I just want to say because we're talking about all of these IPs and world building and stuff, there was a show that I have sworn off of for the year, and is because I wanted to recuperate that feeling that I had after that awful ass season that I watched. 10 years, Bastion, of my life I dedicated to Game of Thrones. When it started when I was in high school, I was one of the few people that really picked up the show as it was happening, and then I watched it grow into something. Okay, when it had the exhibition on Fifth Avenue, I was waiting in line, okay, over like 3 hours to get in so I can sit on the Iron Throne. All right, that was back in 2013. See, this was 10 years ago. All
Oof.
right, and I still have the picture to this very day. Okay, I was dedicated, and then it became a global phenomenon. All right, and everyone got on to the GOT bandwagon, and I love that. Okay, I'm a fan of when you know medieval times or just nerdy things in general become popular to the mainstream. And then that awful last season 8 happened, and I
That was an awful
swore off.
season 7 too.
Season 7 was bad, but season 8 was awful because this was the closer. This was the finale after 10 years.
Yeah,
This was it. It was
it was
over.
episode
Okay,
8 transition to episode 9.
it was god awful. Okay, and ever since then, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And then, of course, back in the summer of 2022, the House of Dragons, which was the prelude, the precursor to Game of Thrones. It came out, and you've been telling me great things about it. Everyone at work has been telling me great things about it and how much I should watch it. And for a while, I was stubborn and I did not watch it. I stuck to my guns and I said no. All right, I need time to heal. I need time to recover. Okay, after a broken heart because it still stings to this very day. And then 2023, I found some time. I'm starting to watch it. Tell you, man, that first episode, it's a great way to sink your ass in to start watching it again. I was like, damn, this is a good ass show. And I'm on episode 3. I'm enjoying it so far. I love it. It reminded me what made Game of Thrones, the politics, the characters, what is everyone's motivation on doing what they're doing, okay? I love that. I
Yes,
love it so
I
much.
love the choices that everybody makes, and can't wait till you finish the series so we could discuss more about it. Um,
You
it is it like you said, it did understand what made Game of Thrones good and kind of took like took a branch off of that and say, all right, let's focus on exactly this. We don't have to do what 6, 7, 8 season 8 did, but let's just focus on the Game of Thrones
Yes.
aspect of
Yes.
it. But yeah, cool.
Cool. So, gonna take a little break real quick, a little pause for the cause, okay? Um, Before we started, we played Mini Men from 50 Cent. And which song should I play, Bastion? Should I play How to Rob or 21 Questions?
21 questions.
Okay, so we come back, we're gonna talk about the 20-year anniversary of Get Rich and Die Tryin'. Without further ado, here's 50 Cent featuring Nate Dogg. We got to give him his credit. RIP Nate Dogg with one of my favorite records of all time. For all you early 2000s kids, late 90s kids, just take some time to reflect. 2003, where were you? How old were you? What were you doing around this time back in good old 2003? Oh man, what a time to be alive. 50 Cent, Nate Dogg, 21 Questions. Hey, fun fact, 50 Cent never wanted to do this kind of song, so Dr. Dre and M had to give him some convincing to do this record. And hey, look how it turned out. One of my favorite 50 Cent songs of all time, ever.
It is funny that he did do this record after dissing Ja Rule for these type of records.
Right? It
That's
is kind of ironic.
that's just me doing some research, preparing for this conversation, and
Mm-hmm.
then just looking at what he was exactly saying, pointing out the things that Ja Rule was doing. Then I hear like, wait a minute, like 21. That's pretty much exactly what Ja Rule was doing. So yeah, shout out to
Right.
Dr. Dre understanding like you need to balance both energies. So you can't just have like, thug, thug, thug. Like, no, you need something for the ladies, as the hip hop trope goes.
That's true. But I think adding Nate Dogg was a smart move because Nate Dogg he has these kind of records. He was always like the hook guy for these kind of records, but there's always some sort of gangsterish just mannerism when it came to Nate Dogg as well. So I think that's what helped out 50 a little bit more to want to do this song as well if it featured Nate Dogg.
Yeah, you're right. Like in terms of the heaviness, because he has
Mm.
like in terms of heaviness of his voice and what it means in terms of like West Coast music, and also having Dr. Dre and him. It's like, come on, it's like the two best things that you need in order to show your
Absolutely.
place within hip hop. And just a quick thing, while I was talking about two energies, it kind of reminds me of Drake when he first this first album when he did the track Over and Find Your
Yes.
Love. Right, something for the guys, something for the girls. And no, it wasn't the best combo, but that's something that's like I'm reminded of in terms of trying to appeal to both
You're
crowds.
absolutely right.
But yeah, that's what 21,
Um,
21 question is. It in a more present tense comparison.
Fans, you don't understand, okay? Every February 6th has come and gone, and I've been wanting to do this episode for the longest, okay? You don't understand. During the 18th anniversary, the 19th anniversary, Bastion always said, "Nah, man, we got to wait to the big 20, to the big 20 hits. We got to then we'll do the episode." Okay? But the reason why I've always wanted to do it when this time came around was because this album right here, okay, has left a big impact on my life, okay? Not just my life, but a lot of other kids' lives around this time. I want you to understand this, okay? Um, Kids, especially in New York at this time, okay? Because, you know, Drake had an amazing feat of being on top arguably for the decade, all right, for 10 years of the 2010s. This man basically ran the decade, arguably, right? But music was in a different place 10 years ago. Okay, we just started to get streaming. You know what I mean? It now started becoming about the singles a little bit more. Okay, record sales were starting to dwindle. That's because of piracy and digital streaming platforms came out of all of the piracy that was going on when we were killing our computers with all the viruses off of LimeWire and then FrostWire and then Pirate Bay and uTorrent and all that other stuff. All right. But 20 years ago, all right, record sales, album sales still meant something. Okay. And also during that time, there was a period in time where there was certain where rappers had their moment of shine where when a wave hit, there's certain rappers that were like the biggest thing in the world, okay? And I want you kids to know something, right? Because we're around that age to do this, okay? When I was young, all right, when Bastion was young, this man 50 Cent was a freaking god. to us. You understand me? Okay. This man was God. All right. And this is prior to him getting this is prior to him when he this is right after when he got shot and he got signed over to Shady Aftermath, all right? Because people just thought 50 Cent was too damn dangerous because he was just that. Everything that he said, everything within his past was real about him. All right. Yes. 50 was in the streets. Okay. Yes. 50 was dealing drugs. All right. Yes. 50 got shot 9 times, which as a kid back then, I don't can it doesn't sound
Sounds
fun
like
now,
the
but
hardest thing of all time to survive.
it's the coolest ever. And he survived.
Yeah.
And not only did he survive, but he got shot in the mouth. So like, the way he slurred his words, it was a lot different than how he sound originally in, Power of a Dollar when he came out with Life's on the Line and How to Rob and stuff. He sound more grizzled. You know what I mean? And it was just the coolest thing in the goddamn world. All right. Um, I'll never forget this day. 2002. All right. I was in third grade. Everyone was talking about 50 Cent. Everyone's talking like, oh, yeah, 50 Cent's my brother. You know how, third graders do. Everyone knows 50 Cent all of a sudden, right? I'm the only kid in class during that time that I just didn't know who or what a 50 Cent was, right? And I don't remember how I found out about 50 Cent, but I remember because MTV was huge. Okay. You always watched MTV to get the latest videos, of course, BET as well, right? And I'm with my brother and I'm watching this video, whatever, and I see Dr. Dre and Eminem in the video. I'm like, oh, cool. And then I see this guy getting worked on in the lab or whatever. And then, this dude was running and you know what I'm saying? Then he was doing like upside down crunches and then he comes down and the beat was crazy already. It was doom, 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 doom. I remember like it was yesterday. And this dude came down and he just started, go, 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 shorty. It's your birthday. And with that, the landscape of hip hop changed at that moment because even back then I knew something special was happening at 8 years old because that track in the club, all right, that song was like a smash hit for 2003. Okay. It was one of the most played songs ever. Okay. It was inescapable. In fact, in my humble opinion, it's one of the few songs in rap music where the clean version was better than the dirty version. What do you think, Bash?
So I understand what you mean by that. I think, and I said this before, the Eminem show is one of the only albums that I could only listen to in clean. Because that's the version I prefer. Because that's the version my mom allowed me to buy when I was much younger. Now I understand what you mean about going home. I was with my older cousins, and we used to watch TRL all the time. It was like a Friday. You know how it is on Friday. The energy is always different leaving school. You,
Of
you go
course.
straight home. For us, we couldn't watch TV on the weekdays, so the only time we go watch TV is Friday. Especially like even my cousins had the same rule. So we're home 2 o'clock. We're pretty much watching music videos from like anything cartoon, then music videos. And as you said, I think it was around like 5 p.m. TRL, the 50 Cent video comes on, and I'm watching it. I'm impressed. I'm surprised because I feel like this is the same year where Eminem, I'm Sorry Mama, came out the the same year or the summer
Yes.
of. I'm trying to align the energy because that's what I
The
was
Eminem show came out around like
after.
that year too. It came out like 2002. So yeah, the Eminem show out as well. So he had a Real Slim Shady and all that
Okay, so
stuff.
that probably came out before. I feel like that came out in the summer,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, that definitely came out during the summertime
I could.
because summer '02 was like Hot and Her, um um Eminem,
Mm-hmm.
um because I'm Slim Shady, it's on the wrist, you want that's track. And I know you remember Addictive, Truth Hurts. It's the Indian track.
So I'm looking at
He
this
turns my pages.
this
That track came out in '02 as well.
so I'm looking at this hip hop list from 2002. At the time,
Wanksta
Eminem.
came out that year too.
There you go, Wankster. I was going to say that, and Lose Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the hit singles, Lose Yourself. Interesting list, and a lot of clips that year. So this is like
Yes.
the post clips. Exhibit, Nate Dogg, The Roots, Talent Quality, Styles P. Like that was the era, right?
Yes.
These are the artists. A lot of Ja Rule as well. Those were the
Yeah.
artists.
Neptunes was on the damn. Neptunes was killing it back then on radio.
Those were the artists that were extremely popular that year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the next year, it was pretty much the 50 Cent year, right? So
It
What
was
Up
50.
Gangster, In the Club, 21 Questions. Those were on rotations. Those music videos were on rotation. And it's really strange to say, but music videos was probably the best way to get your music out there besides the radio. Now I
Yes.
would say YouTube is the best direction. I know Vivo was trying to do that for a very long time, and I still think they should destroy Vivo, whatever that thing is. It's just pretty much like a streaming platform only for music videos. That's
It
why
is.
people make a lot of money off of it. But going back to what you were saying, it was a big shock. It was a big surprise. And seeing him next to Eminem, and as a kid, you love Eminem. He's like the funniest rapper of all time. Because we never listened to his albums. We were listening to his singles. He had the
Exactly.
best singles, all right? I know all of them. Slim Shady, I'm the Real Slim Shady. Like, that's hilarious for a kid, especially a 7, 8 year old. So you see him connected to 50 Cent. You see Dr. Dre in the video. See him doing like, working out, masculine, manly man, right? And like, wow, Queens, New York. Especially for me, I'm from Queens, New York. So
Exactly.
now I'm understanding. Oh, so this is like love for the city. So I'm from Queens, 50 from Queens. I get it. But I wasn't from the hood. I'm from Kew Gardens. Like I'm not from Southside Jamaica. I don't want to be from Southside Jamaica. I grew up. I went to high school with people from Southside Jamaica. They ain't fun.
Right.
Not fun over
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
The
yeah.
the older I got, I understood that. All right.
We've seen some stuff over on the Ave, people.
Yes. I was on the Ave in 2008, like every single day. It was not fun. It was much safer in 2011. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was exciting times. It hit you like a wave. You understood this person is going to probably be the most interesting artist of that year, which he was. He had a lot of character. You seen his interviews. I don't remember watching his interviews, but I do know understanding him as a person. And we didn't have access to internet back then, so I do feel like I understood him as a person because I watched his interviews as a young person.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
then, of course, the Ja Rule beef, right?
Classic.
The classic stuff. But
Oh,
like I said, before I even get there, I want to really kind of display
sure.
the energy that was going on in 2003. So
Paint it for them, please, because these kids don't know.
so you got Akon Locked Up dropping that year,
Yes.
right? Akon Locked Up. Then you have Chingy right there.
Oh man, Ching-a-ling. All right. For all you kids out there, I know the name Chingy sounds corny, but listen, all right. It was just a point where you just had to be there to understand Ching-a-ling, okay, with right there out of St. Louis, okay? I re-listened to it recently because it was brought up again. Kind of corny now, not gonna lie, but it's just one of those things where you had to be there to understand Ching-a-ling, okay?
Yeah.
Chingy.
Um, I was gonna say Diddy, Nelly, Shake Your Tail Feather, right?
Oh, Bad Boys too, damn it. Woo,
Exactly. Right.
boy.
Right. That was a culture icon too.
Yes.
DMX, a lot of DMX fits beats. So like, where the hood at? Get on the floor.
Mm,
X is gonna give it to you. Those are very strong songs. Then we also have like Freeway, Jay Z, Beanie Siegel, and What We Do.
that's right. We talked about that like 2 weeks back.
Run featuring Ghostface Killer and Jadakiss. Then we have a bunch of G Unit songs, which is Poppin'
Oh,
Them Things, Wanna Get to Know You, and Stunt 101. Then, of
oh,
course,
we're
Ja
gonna get to
Rule,
G.
Clap Back, right?
Right. We're gonna get to G Unit right after. Don't worry. We're gonna get into that too.
And then we have a bunch of Jay Z because this is the year the Black Albums came out.
Yes.
So we got
This was the
Encore,
Jay Z retirement.
Jay Z retirement, right? Tom Brady,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just fake retiring.
Right.
Encore, Dirt Off Your
Yes.
Shoulder, 99
Oh,
Problems.
oh my God. Oh
It's
my God.
wait,
Public service
wait.
announcement.
Punjabi MC. Who's that? Was that this?
Mimi on the bucket on the bitty bucket
Was
line.
that what you're referencing to?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
no,
no. What I was referencing what back in '02 was she's so contagious.
okay,
She turns my pages.
gotcha,
Featuring Rakim. That
gotcha,
was a that was with Truth Hurts with Addictive.
gotcha. So Budden, um,
Pump It Up came
pump,
out that year as
pump it
well.
up, slow motion, juvenile, Dipset with Jules Santana, Little Kim, Majestic. All right,
Oh,
what Majestic? You
oh,
can't forget that. The jump off, the way you do
the
it.
jump off.
Missy Elliott, Wake Up, Memphis Bleak, Just Blaze, Bleak and Free. Outcast, Hey Y'all Roses. That was another era. That's like Outcast double LP, and they won the Grammy for best album of the year.
Yeah. And
Frontin',
no other rap duo has never happened again for
front
no rapper.
no rapper. Frontin' by Pharrell and Jay Z.
Oh
The
man.
Diplomats, pretty much all the Dipset anthem. Ti Rubber Band Man, and West Side Connection, Gangster Nation. And like I'm just naming a bunch of songs that are classic, timeless classics. But I could tell you 50 Cent was above all of that.
Right. None of it meant crap because 50 Cent he was bigger than all of those
And those
records.
records are
Kid. I
huge.
want you to know that.
Don't get me
Exactly.
wrong. Those are very huge records. I'm looking at this list surprised that the only thing I could only think of is 50 Cent. And of course, Jay-Z's retirement because then he
Yes.
dropped Kingdom Come and everybody said it was garbage. I thought the singles were fine. As like what, like a 9-year-old, like yeah,
Well, the
it's good.
singles were cool because it was "Show Me What You Got"
No,
and
that song
"Lost
is
One."
garbage as like an older gentleman. But anyways, those were the songs at the time. That's the culture. That's the state of hip hop.
Back
Pre-trap,
then.
trap doesn't happen for another 10 years. Okay,
Yeah, we're still in the height of the bling era
the
in
bling out
2000.
jewelry, a lot of music videos that says "to be continued" and nothing ever
Yes.
happens.
A lot of R&B hip hop crossovers, some of the best R&B hip hop crossovers of all time during the early 2000s era, in
A,
my humble
a
opinion.
lot of rappers dying. I mean, not even rappers. A lot of rapper crews dying because that was when
Yeah.
you had a lot of, let's say, rapper on rapper violence during the tour, and that's kind of the energy of creating the hip hop police to protect rappers. But of course, it went downhill.
Yes.
Very interesting. And we spoke about this maybe like 4 years ago, live on air, talking about
Did
hip
we?
hop. Yeah, we spoke about hip hop police,
Oh, yeah,
um,
the hip hop cops.
the hip hop cops and stuff. Uh,
Oh, it's a real unit. It's real.
it's a real unit. So let's discuss G Unit at the
Oh,
same time and its importance. Gio, tell the story of the creation of G Unit.
oh, I don't even know the
You
story.
don't know
Real
the
creep.
story? Okay, I know
I
the
don't know
story.
the story.
I
You know the story,
Yeah,
please.
I watch a lot of DJ Who Kid's interviews. And
Okay.
DJ Who Kid is 50 Cent's DJ.
Yes.
He pretty much hired him a couple months after 50 Cent came out of the hospital,
And
and
he's Haitian.
he's Haitian. Yes, he pretty much grew up on this in the same area as 50 Cent. Well, DJ Who Kid grew up in Queens Village. Um, 50 Cent grew up in South Jamaica, and he's seen him all the time because at the time 50 Cent was known as Boo Boo, beating up drug dealers and stealing from
Hmm.
people. He was tough.
See, he's about that life.
He
He's
was
about that life, people.
he was a bigger person too. That's why they
That's
call
right.
him Boo Boo. He lost a lot of
See,
weight
that's cool.
after
See,
the.
that's why he was cool, damn it.
So all of like pretty much G Unit. So we talking about like Tony Yayo and
Hmm.
everybody. We're all just
Lloyd Banks.
Lloyd Banks. We're all of 50 Cent's friends, and he
Mhm.
pretty much said, "We're not selling drugs anymore. We're all getting into rap," and that was it. That's the story.
Yeah.
He pretty much
Well,
converted them all into rappers in one day, and that's the story. That's G Unit.
then how did Young Buck come into the fold?
I think same thing too, because later on as they grew, they added different people. So the game is
Okay.
another person.
Oh yeah.
Monica's another person. No, not Monica. Olivia. Olivia's
Olivia.
another
Yep.
person because they went on tour. 40 people
Mhm.
to a bus. Crazy times. Crazy times. Definitely difficult to do now within that energy because the energy will be very unsafe
Yes.
in terms of the violence that's taken on that tour. But yeah, that was the
Oh,
creation of G Unit. Then they
well,
focused on creating mixtapes, and
yes.
after those mixtapes were pushed, that's when they would get that energy out, and that's how 50 Cent was able to sign with Shady Aftermath, because he was signed by, I think, Interscope, maybe. No,
He
he
was.
was signed by
I
Interscope.
think he was found by like Columbia first, and that's where we come with Power of a Dollar, which was supposed to be his debut album, his real true debut album, but that never really came to fruition. This was when uh, this is when 50 Cent was still cock diesel. All right. This is before he got shot and everything like that. And then he got shot. And then, he was in the hospital, got shot 9 times, in front of his grandma's house, very infamously. And that trajectory sort of changed his life because this is a kid who got shot 9 times. He had beef in the streets. And then also he had beef on wax with certain rappers. And at a certain point in time, the nigga was beefing with the whole city of New York. Okay. That's why no one wanted to touch 50 Cent. Okay. At that time, he was too damn dangerous to get a damn deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
he
And so
was
he had to
dropped from
go
the
out.
deal. Yeah.
He was dropped from the deal because he was just too damn dangerous. He was a real street cat. Then he was beefing with Murder Inc. And then he started beefing with the whole New York City. And so he couldn't get a damn deal in New York City. So, he had to go out west. And then with the beats of Dr. Dre, with the lyrical mastermind, psychotic white boy known as Eminem, and then 50 Cent, it was a match made in hell, damn it. And the rest was history.
Yes. And it worked. I do think they all complement each other in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the history and the production value of Dr. Dre. And then I will always say Eminem is probably one of the best rappers of our time. Of course, his newer stuff within the past 10 years is weird and not interesting
We
at
don't
all.
talk about that.
But he does have like a good, like 5 albums back to back to back. They were all fire. Okay. Encore was his last decent album. Just putting that out there. Now let's get into like the track list
Oh,
and
please.
re-listening to it as like an older person, because when the album came out, did you get a chance to listen to it when it came out?
Yes, because my brother had the CD, the explicit version, mind you. So I remember listening to the album at 8 years old all the time because again, 50 Cent was the hottest thing ever. Okay. It was everything 50 Cent. Okay. It was the album, it was his interviews, it was even the damn Murder Inc. interviews as well. I remember all of them.
I didn't
Okay.
have it. I didn't have the real one. I had the bootleg one that you get in Jamaica
Ah,
Avenue.
I like that. There
Because
you go.
because I
See, that was the time, ladies and gentlemen.
was B2K the same year too? Because I feel like I picked them both up at the same time.
B2K was either 2003 or 2002.
I feel like I picked them up at the both time. Anyways, I definitely got 50 cents bootleg. Oh, who will get it from me? My mom's, of course. But at the time,
Right.
I didn't know the difference between like getting the CD there versus, I'm trying to remember like the top CD retailer at the time.
Like Sam Goody
That's
or
I'm trying
or
to.
the Virgin Mobile or the Virgin store
It
in
was
the city.
it was a store that was only found like maybe a mile outside my mom's job, and
Oh,
that's
I
where she
wouldn't.
was able to buy me like the Kanye West CDs I would ask for in the
Okay.
future.
Okay.
and
FYE.
and FYE. There you go. Thank you. Thank
There
you. I
you go.
knew it
You're
was
welcome.
I knew it was like you'll have it. That does not exist anymore. Okay. FYE
FYE exists.
is
There's a
dead.
couple
They
left
used
in
to
New York,
be
but they don't
all
sell music
over.
anymore.
Okay. They used to be
Yeah.
everywhere, all over the place.
They just don't sell music anymore. It became like a pop culture shop.
FYE is terrible because they would rip you off with the albums. So if it's like an album that comes out the first week, of course it'll cost $12, $13. But waiting two
Hell
weeks
yeah.
after that, now you're paying $25 for an album and that you might not even like. And this is before like you could illegally download it, on like a mass scale level. Of course, I didn't figure that out until 2007, but this is
Fair.
2003. This is 2003. And that was kind of my experience getting the CD, of course, bootleg on the Call It Block in Jamaica.
So I re-listened to this album preparing for this show. So we could go through the track list. The first track intro, that was the 50 Cent rolling around. Okay. And then it goes straight into What Up Gangsta. Okay. And what a way to start off a damn record because you hear the just bass just thumping and you hear 50 Cent start. What? We hit. What? And it just hits you in the face with aggression. Okay. I'm on the train and I'm already aggressive. Okay. And as a kid, I'm just like, whoa, what is this? I didn't know what I was listening to. This is something for me at least. This was something new. This was something different. This was something hard hitting, hardcore. Um, you know, this dude he just felt invincible. That's the proper word to describe this song, this intro, the feeling that I got of just invincibility. Okay. That's what Up Gangsta is to me.
Yeah, and I like how it transitions into the next track, "Patiently Waiting," which is strange. I feel like "Patiently Waiting" was later on in the album, but it
Mm-mm.
was Don't Push Me," another Eminem track.
Right. It's a good 5 track run on this album
Yeah,
is legendary.
so "Patiently Waiting," I could say production wise does not really exist today in terms
Nope.
of having. I'm like playing the song in my head right now, having this
I've been
sense
patiently
rising up as Eminem raps even faster, giving it this kind of dark, shallow feeling. Yet it's a slow tempo song, but it goes so hard. I don't know. I don't understand how it works. I think it has to do with the production and how
mm-hmm.
the keys play through the record. It's very very interesting. I always thought that track was just like hard for no reason.
You know what? It resembles to me, because you hear that the beep line that you hear in the hospitals when you're like wrapped up and stuff, and you hear the beep, beep, beep,
Mm-hmm.
beep. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When you're hooked up to those machines, it feels like that's what the song and the beat is like imitating a bit. It's imitating that beat and that pace, you know. And then when Eminem comes on, right, he starts speeding up with it a little bit. That's what it reminds me of, like being in the hospital for some reason, because it just mimics that beat almost.
To talk about
Also,
production, this is like an Eminem
yes.
produced track. And
Mm-hmm.
talking about the keyboard, Mike Elizondo, he's in a lot of like Dr. Dre production type beats. So he's definitely got that influence.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one of my favorite lines of this song of all time. He got 50 cents. If you live in the glass house, you better watch your mouth, cause I'll break your face. Have your ass running, mumbling to the jakes. You going against me, dog. One of my favorite parts.
You know what's funny listening to that song? It's like, wow, I haven't heard the term Jakes in a very long time, which means cops, bro.
Very 2000s.
I was like, wow, this is. I think that line dates itself, but at the same time, it shows how times has changed.
Yes,
um, then
absolutely.
then you switch into an even more harder track, "Many Men," which feels which is insane that "What's Up Gangster" starts and then 2 tracks later is "Many Men," and we kind of discussed that song already in terms of just the hardness of it.
That's right.
"Wish Death," which is I didn't know that was a thing. Parentheses "Wish Death." I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's a single thing. Like after the single release, it's like, oh, people keep calling it "Wish Death." Parentheses "Wish Death."
Well, see, here's the thing about this song, right? Everything 50 Cent was saying, especially in the chorus, it was very true at this time, okay? 50 Cent became the most popular rapper in the world, but also he became also the most dangerous rapper in the world. And he could not come back home like that because people wanted him dead, okay?
Yeah.
There 50 Cent used to do shows in a bulletproof vest, people. All right. I want to emphasize this enough, right? You don't see Drake running around here with no damn bulletproof vests on rapping on stage, on listening, playing Marvin's Room and all that. 50 Cent did, damn it, because it was that damn dangerous for him because people wanted to kill him, okay? People that was once his friends, his damn enemies, all right? The damn Supreme team. Everyone wanted him dead in New York, okay? Especially because he was beefing with New York, okay? He was beefing with Ja, he's beefing with Fat Joe, he's beefing with Jadakiss, he's beefing with everyone, damn it, okay? This is how serious it was back then for 50 Cent, all right? This wasn't a game, this is real life, all right? And that's why I call this man invincible back then, 20 years ago, all right? Because he was invincible, all right? He was still shining, still here, still pulling out records, damn it.
by track 5, that's when we get the hit single In the Club.
Nothing else to really say about this record. It's a global phenomena.
I think
Okay,
that this is his biggest hit of all time, though.
to date, it's still his biggest hit to date.
Yeah.
You can play this in the clubs right now, and it'll still go off. Hell, last year was the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Dr. Dre and Eminem, and who made a surprise appearance? 50 Cent. And guess what he played? In the club,
He
and
should
it's
never
still
did it
bangs.
upside down. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
He ain't fitting that shirt
Yeah.
well. Um, so are you going track by track? I'm about to skip some
No.
tracks.
Skip some tracks.
All
Go
right,
go
so
into
track 11, um, PIMP.
I don't know what you heard about me.
So that type of production is very strange because it's very simple, right?
Yes.
It's probably like if you look at it, I don't know if people have Ableton or any type of music production software, but it feels like it fits maybe 4 lines, and then everything
Mm-hmm.
is kind of stressed out because of like the bell, what do you call it, the steel
Steel
drums,
pan.
the steel
Steel
pan,
pan.
and you're just
Mm-hmm.
playing in the background. I could say it sounds like if I were to produce it or anybody were to produce it, it might sound corny. But
That's fair.
this track is still amazing.
Mm.
I,
Back
back then, yeah.
back then, there was we got a lot of different iterations of songs, right? What you heard on the album wasn't necessarily what you heard on the in the music video, right? So I specifically remember PIMP the video had the Snoop Dogg remix as just the original video, right? Um, but it did not. We didn't have that on the original. Just the original version. It was just the 50 Cent version. But in my mind, I always remembered the video version with Snoop Dogg, where 50 Cent was in the little court pimp walls of doom or whatever, and 50 Cent's like, you ain't gotta say nothing about me. I'm a PIMP. Plus, I got the magic stick. And then it was like the G Unit mix, and then 50, and then Snoop Dogg came in, FIFTYC and T and S and double OP, D O double G. Oh man, I'ma show you why my pimp hands is way too strong. You dead. Oh man. Nostalgic moment. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's
You unlocked everything as you described it. The video popped in my mind. It's like, oh yeah, that was a thing, huh?
That was a thing.
Remixes.
Sometimes the videos just never matched up with what the album came out with.
You're right. The remixes and just adding verse and also saying extra words. Because if you watch the music video, we're talking about like music video probably come out 10 months before the album. This is what you're
Yes.
pretty much listening to. So when you get to the actual song, it sounds weird to you for a very
Right.
long time.
Right.
So yeah. Then we skip around. Then we get to Like My Style featuring Tony
Mhm.
Yayo. Then 21 Questions, which we just discussed. A beautiful Nate Dogg track, classic. And like as I
Mhm.
said, this is like the most Ja Rule track at the time because with all the tracks I listed before, the R&B hip hop scene like putting together always works, and I still think it works today. It's just not done that much. Don't Push Me, another great track. Wankster
Mhm.
from the 8 Mile
Oh,
soundtrack, they threw it
oh,
in, and I think by this time like the album was already finished, right?
it was, yeah, it
It,
was over.
it
So
was
he
by
he
track 16.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. But also he dropped a little bit of like extra stuff that was from like Power of the Dollar, like So You Not Like Me.
yeah,
And then Life's on the Line, which was supposed to be like his single, and that was like the the ignition of the Ja Rule 50 Cent beef, because the chorus is like murder.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
believe you,
Murder,
murder.
which is
Around to leave you.
it was so silly.
Yeah.
I heard it. I heard it
Oh,
today actually. And I was like, wow, this is silly.
right, but
Because you know what it
hey,
means. I wonder if I didn't know Ja Rule was connected to Murder Inc. as a 7-year-old. That's not
exactly.
something that you know.
Right. It wasn't like rap beef back then, right? This was like the first like real rap beef that I knew, where it was like, I don't like you, you don't like me, and if I see you, it's on sight, right? Life's on the Line. It was a bit more discreet, right? Because he's going at Ja Rule, but if you know Murder Inc., then all right, he's going at Ja Rule, but like when we had Back Down, right? And he made it very specific, like, yo, this is Ja little punk ass thinking out loud. Southside tie dye. This is how I get down. I'm like, oh, he really doesn't like Ja Rule. And why doesn't he like Ja Rule? And wow, I remember thinking to myself back then because hey, you know what? I'm still a young and impressionable kid. I like Ja Rule records. All right, I thought I'm Real was tight. I thought all of his records with Ashanti was tight. All the the songs for the girls. I thought it was a good. I thought they were great. But then being a young and impressionable kid, here's this man telling me Ja Rule is whack, and then what I felt afterwards. I said Ja Rule and Wankster out. It's G Unit, damn it. I became a guerrilla unit soldier. So that shows where my loyalty was. I was easily impressionable as a kid, and I was riding with 50 Cent all the way. All the way.
I was impressionable too. Um, I just was listening to a lot of Outkast and 50 Cent, and of course, then you get into the Kanye era and
Right.
Ludacris. A lot of Ludacris too. As I said,
Love
Ludacris was one of
Ludacris.
my favorite rappers because he has the most creative music videos. Same thing as uh
Eminem, Missy
Eminem
Elliott.
and Missy Elliott. What Missy Elliott music videos were always insane,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very interesting because it felt like every time I listened to 50 Cent, it felt very local to me because this person
Felt
grew
very
up in the
real.
same area of Queens that Queens is pretty big, but it felt like
Mhm.
I was would root for him more than anybody else. But Ja Rule's
Right.
from Queens too, isn't he?
He is from Queens as
So
well.
yeah, I think I knew that too. I never really cared for the whole like Ja Rule's whack. Ja Rule's whack to me came off of being a Dave Chappelle fan and the
Oh,
9/11 thing. It's like what is like we need
got you.
Ja. That was
No.
when it clicked in my head. It's like, oh, why would anybody call Ja Rule? So
I get where you're coming from, but I feel like for a lot of us that really started getting that was really introduced to rap beef, I think this was the beef that is really synonymous to that. 50 Cent,
50 Cent.
G Unit, and then and versus murdering Ja Rule. This was the one right here. And I remember classic interviews on like Hot 97 where I remember Murder Inc. was on Hot 97, right? He was on Star and Buckwild, right? And I think it was Irv Gotti. He pulled out like a police report where they're like, yo, 50, 50, 50. And they're referring to 50, being the cops, and they're like, yeah, 50 snitch. He's saying we stabbed him. Da, da, da. I don't know if you remember this at all, but I remember it clear as day. All right, he was talking about this. He had the rap. He had the report sheet. He was like, yeah, we want Irvin Lorenzo and Jeffrey Atkins to stay close, to stay away from Curtis Jackson. And he's like, and that's 50, y'all, aka 50, aka the police, aka I'm telling. I will never forget this to this day. All right. This is how this is how intense the rap beef was. All right. Also the beef series, all right. Quincy Jones the third, all right. I'll never forget this series, right? Because every weekend on Fuse, when Fuse was a thing, and for those of you who don't know what Fuse is, Google Fuse, all right. Every weekend there was the beef series that was out, right? And they would always cover like the most sometimes the most mainstream rap beefs, but also like some of the most not so mainstream rap beefs, right? And of course, one episode of Beef, they talked about the whole 50 Cent Ja Rule thing, right? And you got to hear the 50 Cent side, you got to hear the Ja Rule side, and I'll never forget this as long as I live as well. 50 Cent, he had on his little, he had the white do rag, he had the Knicks hat, I think he had a Latrell Sprewell jersey, if I'm not mistaken, because that was when Latrell Sprewell was like one of the most hottest ball players in New York at the time for the Knicks. And he was talking about Ja Rule, and he said, I don't know how a kid would want to grow up and be like Ja Rule. You sing duets and all that. All right, he really is a sweetheart for real. Oh man, he's like, he's like, I don't like this dude. This isn't even like just some sort of rap beef. I don't like this dude. I think he corny. Like, he was just going off on Ja Rule. and he started talking about the genesis of the rap beef, or just the beef in general with Ja Rule. He said, "Oh, one of my friends, robbed Ja Rule or whatever back then, and I saw him in the club or whatever. I saw Ja Rule and it was all love, but I also saw the dude that robbed him, and he always felt some type of way." Um, that ain't true, because we got to understand the real reason why 50 Cent really had something against Ja Rule. Do you know the real reason why?
Why?
Well, since we all know 50's background and history. He was about that life, and he also looked up to the Supreme Team, right? And the guy who was running the Supreme Team, Mr. Supreme himself, Ken McGriff, um, was like, he was the top guy in the Supreme Team, right? And so, Griff, he started to hang around Murder Inc. a lot in Ja Rule, and he would use them, to become legit, right? So there was like a sort of like partnership, a friendship, if you will. 50 Cent would, he wanted that cosign from Griff, because he's about that life. He came from that life, so there was a sense of realness there. But Griff was like, "Nah, I'm gonna rock with Ja Rule, da da da," and so that's what really sparked it. It was 50 Cent sort of resenting that, and because Ja Rule, I sent you this on TikTok where 50 Cent was talking about the background of Ja Rule. Um, and the way
Like a
he
good
the way
kid.
he read it,
Yeah.
it's classic 50 Cent. Okay, he's like, "Oh, Ja Rule came from a good home, came from a good family," and then he added like he was a Jehovah's Witness, which cracked me up. He's like, and, instead of you know counting his blessings and being grateful for his blessings and being grateful for the situation that he was in, he wanted to be a damn gangster, and so he went to befriend the biggest gangster that there was. And so that's what really like ignited that flame with
50.
Ja Rule and
It does
50's.
it is pretty interesting to see when he said those things, and he's like comparing, like, you had a great life, I had a terrible life, right? I was in the
Mm-hmm.
situations where I did the things I had to do compared to you, and wanting to be hood, wanting to be gangster, which is a thing that people still go through this day. People come
Of
from
course.
very great privileged background and in the streets, like, why? You don't have to be out here.
It's not fun.
It's not fun for anybody. You're right. And I could say the same thing as someone that came from, like, uh I could say I come from like a privileged background too. Working middle class is still there, but still it's like I could have I was on the street in Jamaica Avenue in 2008. I could have done some crazy stuff too if I wanted to be hood. I used to watch all those Boys in the Hood movies, and it's like, wow, gangster. Man, I thought about it. Everybody dies. This is not cool. I'm just gonna continue reading my manga. All right, staying home. I spent all summer to get this money to use this MacBook. That's it. I'm just going straight home after school. But yeah, I think I understand where he's coming from. It's kind of silly. It is a little ridiculous. You have no reasons to be in the streets. But that's kind of like that's the beef series.
Yes, that's the beef series. And then we haven't even touched on G Unit, like just the group. Okay. The group, the clothing line, Blue Yankee Fitty, G Unit sneakers. Okay. This was when, you know, rapper rapper streetwear was huge back in the early 2000s, children. Okay. Sean Carter had Rockefeller, and he had the S. Dot Carters. Okay. Yeah, Russell Simmons with Fat Farm, and then his wife at the time, Kimora Lee Simmons, with Baby Fat. And then of course
Echo,
50 Cent,
Fubu.
Echo, Fubu, and then of course we got 50 Cent with G Unit. Okay, he had a deal with Reebok to do G Unit sneakers. Every kid I knew had G Unit sneakers. Every kid I knew had G Unit just streetwear. I was one of those kids. One of my favorite G Unit sneakers I ever had in life it was like a white and gray G Unit sneakers, right? And instead of like the cursive G, it was the Young Buck G Unit spinner chain instead, and it actually spun too. I'll never forget those sneakers as long as I live. It was one of a kind. All right, I still think about those sneakers to this damn day. That's how impactful it was back then, ladies and gentlemen. Like now, you don't really see that much anymore. You see rappers talking about oh, Gucci and Prada and Louis Vuitton, and people wearing those dumbass $350 big boot shoes. Now I know you saw them craps bashing. I know you know what I'm talking about. You see people want to wear
Oh,
rock that.
the mischief
Yeah,
books,
yeah, the
boots.
mischief books. Yeah, the mischief boots. That was it looks like a damn cartoon character. This looks stupid. But
It's
anyways,
not for the
back
regular
then,
folks. Shout out to the cosplayers. Those are the
yeah,
joints. Those are the Johns just for y'all.
yeah. But see, back then we had rapper streetwear, okay, and it was cool as hell. And 50 Cent was one of those people at the helm. And because of that, too, this was the only time we had a Jay-Z 50 Cent collab, and it was over to sell some damn shoes. You remember that commercial?
Yes.
50 Cent had the G Unit, and then
Well,
Jay-Z had the S. Dot Carters.
trying to
It
remember.
was a commercial.
Do you remember like did it say like where they were selling it? Was it like Jimmy Jazz?
I don't remember that part.
Okay. Okay.
I just know that this was the only time ever in history we had the god himself, the king, arguably of New York, Jay-Z, and like the megastar at the height of his career, 50 Cent, coming together to promote shoes and a rap. What a time to be alive, people.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
And then, shortly after that, hey, did you have any G Unit sneakers or G Unit
No, I
streetwear
did not.
fashion?
I didn't have any G Unit clothes, no matter how much. But at the same time, where did you buy them?
Oh, dude, they were available at Macy's.
Interesting. I
They
guess
were available at Macy's, Dr. J's, Jimmy Jazz, VIM, OMG.
yeah, those are places I never shopped at as a kid. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
at the same time, it's like it wouldn't make sense to buy those joints for me. I went to private school, so I had a uniform.
All right.
So by
Right.
the time I went to public schools, like I didn't have a million fits. It was like the quickest fits you could find at Payless and the Gap. The
I
Gap,
got you, man.
the Gap. So yeah, I got a lot of clothes from the Gap because my parents came here in the 80s. The Gap was the highest quality at the time.
Mm.
Of course, the Gap now is a little super mid. You have a kid wearing the Gap, like they're calling you out. But anyways, that's kind of my childhood.
Yeah.
So yeah, streetwear, hip hop wear. It was a cash cow in my opinion. The quality was
Yep.
decent, if I recall. So
It
it
was.
wasn't fast fashion. That's a little bit later in life. That's like the 2010s. That's when the low quality just came immediately. So yeah, rappers definitely did have better clothes than they knew now. I could say because it's straight Gildan gear. Shout out to all y'all selling $60 Gildan shirts. I see the profit value. The profit margin is 90%. This is disgusting. You're wearing fake cotton. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Let's kind of wrap this segment
Aw.
up right here. 50
Damn,
Cent.
I was gonna keep going in
Nah,
on 50. Damn it. Just the mogul. The man had his own vitamin water. Like you just stuff that you just don't see anymore, okay?
it's very interesting to right now, right? Because especially like the way black capitalism is, I could say he was pretty much doing things that a lot of people didn't think was possible to do. Like I said, like
Right.
I'm anti-capitalist out here, but in a black capitalist perspective, like being young, you see like, oh, he got this deal, making millions off of this deal, made 60 million off for like vitamin water. I think when PepsiCo or one of those companies bought it out, and it's like,
Yep.
wow, this is insane. This is pretty much what every rapper wants to do with their money because at a certain point in time, just you're not really making a lot of money in rap, right? You have to use that money
Venture out.
to venture out and to do other things. The whole concept of Dr. Dre making like headphones, right? Because he had
Mhm.
a conversation with Jimmy Iovine saying we should he's gonna make a sneaker. It's like we're not doing sneakers, we're doing hardware, right? And that's pretty much the direction he went to. So it's like I said, that was one thing, but 50 Cent was doing everything, and
Yeah.
now he's doing TV, and that's insane to have your own Marvel universe on Stars Network.
Yeah. It's crazy that there's a generations of kids that know 50 Cent as the guy who makes all these stars TV and the guy who just talks a lot of crap on Instagram. That is crazy to me because again, when we were young, this guy was a god. Okay. And I still view him as that,
Legendary
as
status.
as just legendary. Just when I was 8 years old and that just that guy, you know. And I always think about this too, you know, like the tail end of the 50 Cent wave, and I arguably take this back to September 11th, 2007, which was the third album saga of one Kanye West and 50 Cent. 50 Cent had Curtis coming out on September 11th, and then Kanye West had Graduation coming out as well. And this was the battle of the sales, who was going to have more sales. 50 Cent was still the ish. Okay. Massacre didn't do as great, wasn't as widely received as Get Rich or Die Trying, but it still went platinum. And then his third album, Curtis, Kanye West was on the rise. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't know how big Kanye West was going to be until this moment right here, where he outsold 50 Cent, and a lot of people use this as like the stamp of maybe gangster rap is wearing out a little bit, and we're getting this like new generation of
Backpack.
rappers where it's like this backpack rap where it's like it's okay to be smart and it's okay to rap about other things. And because of that day, I always think about the rappers that was able to come out and be successful. Like 2 years later, you had Drake with So Far Gone, the mixtape, and then like a year after, you had J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. So always think about
It did
that
branch
specific. It
other
did.
people to focus and listen to. One thing I did want to say is I actually did
Please.
research a long, long time ago about how 50 Cent felt about the whole release with Kanye West thing. He kind of wanted more back and forth, but kind of didn't really do much of that because when you
Right.
have like this drama, you can really push on it to help the marketing. And that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
makes 50 Cent different from other rappers is he understood how to market himself
Mm-hmm.
even for small situations like this because his quote was as a retired Kanye said, I remember this 2007. If Kanye sells more records than than
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm going to retire.
Yes, he did. He
and
said that. I
and
remember
that
that.
is what people were holding on to, this heaviness that like Kanye West is a juggernaut. He came out with two classic albums, and then 50 Cent's still around, so it's like, is this the change of hip-hop? And we're watching this change as like this kind of West Coast versus East Coast thing, energy
Unfold. Yeah.
unfold, so everybody's talking about it. So yeah, I won't say that like it messed up his career, but I did say
Mhm.
it changed how hip hop was for the next following years after that display of gangster rap versus, I will call, just for conversation's sake, backpack rap.
I'd
So
like to add to that as well, Bastion, because when you said that 50 wanted more of a back and forth, it was back at a time where Kanye West, he was outspoken, but he wasn't really he didn't really beef with anyone. You know what
that's
I mean? He didn't really have beef.
the thing is
He was just a likable dude.
the thing.
Back then, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, back then, kids, okay? The only real controversy he had was George Bush didn't care about black people. He would storm the stage on a couple of award shows, back in like Europe and all that. But that was it with Kanye West. Everyone still pretty much liked him at that point.
No, it was disliked around that time because Graduation was the turn of history, and 50 Cent noticed that. That's why the marketing aspect tried to work on it, but it just didn't work out. It didn't play out. It kind of worked. It was more beneficial for Kanye West rather than 50 Cent
Mm-hmm.
because I guess Kanye West was still looked as the underdog, even though this was his third album. But that kind of shows how huge 50 Cent is compared
Telling you.
to someone that's also dropping their third album.
I
And
hear you.
it is very interesting to kind of reflect back on his first album. One thing that I wish he's done, one thing I wish that he's done, same thing for, I could say, The Game, is to continue their relationship with Dr. Dre, to continue working on album 2 and album 3. But I do think that's more of a Dr. Dre issue and not actually them, because I don't know, he's just very difficult producer. He's like he doesn't want to work 24/7. So
I hear you.
yeah,
I think he's earned that.
yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it on 50 Cent. We kind of gave y'all a whole hour on him. I,
That's
I
right.
hope you guys were, if you
He
weren't
deserves it,
there, at
though.
least understand like how we felt about it. And if you were there, hope you could relate. you know, having conversations with us in your head. It's like, yeah, I remember back then.
Where
A TRL
we
music video. But
only
yeah,
got about 25 minutes left within this episode. I hope we did this justice. I know we did this justice, damn it, because we were there. See, we're old enough to be like, I was there for this, okay?
yeah,
That's what I like about getting a bit older, too, is like, I can reflect and be like, listen, you don't know what the hell you're talking about because I was there,
yeah.
okay?
None of that revisionist history. I
Mhm.
remember moments very well. That's kind of like the best thing about how my brain works. I'm not going to replace an emotion. I saw everybody's opinions, watched all the interviews, watched all the shows. I remember how people felt, and it was time changing. So
What
let
a time, man.
let's get into the next topics while we
Sure.
have a
What do you
couple
want to talk
minutes.
about, bud?
So the first thing I want to talk about is the balloon debacle that happened recently. I we need to talk about it. It's interesting. It's funny. I think it's nonsensical. I think it kind of shows our hands in the media and how we will feel if there's like an alien attack or an alien passing by. How we'll just, I can't say we jump to conclusions because there's a lot of research from the Pentagon saying that it was a Chinese spy
Yeah,
balloon in a
passion. So
way.
it's not funny.
It is funny. It is funny. There's
It's a China spy balloon bastion. How anti-American of you.
So let me quickly go over it. Last Wednesday, right? Last Wednesday, residents of the people in Montana saw the balloon. People were confused. They weren't sure what it was because it was a huge object, especially in the distance. So it looks small or large,
Looks
and
like a UFO.
they thought it was like a star or a moon. As it got closer, that's when people recognized it was a balloon because a lot of photographers zoomed in. And then that's when the local news started to discussing. Then it broke out to national news with NBC saying it was a Chinese spy balloon, and the U.S. officials were concerned uh, about it. They did know it was near the vicinity since it kind of passed over Alaska, so they've just been keeping an eye on it. I think 3 to 4 days prior to it reaching Montana. They wanted to shoot down at it, but they're kind of worried about the debris. And the reason that it was, I guess, like maybe quickly got into the media is because there is a military base in Montana that was carrying roughly 150 intercontinental ballistic missiles that could carry warheads, right? So
Mhm.
it's like someone selling a surveillance drone to take pictures or even x-ray what's going on around the area, so it felt like a like a security problem. And
Exactly.
that's kind of what escalated everything to the news. Now apparently, I thought this was interesting. An incident like this is a balloon incident, that like a balloon will come near the United States then kind of move away, because China said, people in China wrote that one, they apologized, rare thing to do, and saying that it was a weather device to see weather, right? It was,
Hmm.
who knows, right? Pentagon
Hmm.
said it happened 3 times during the Trump administration and one time in the beginning of the Biden administration. So see, that's kind of where it gets funny because it happened before. We just weren't aware of it.
Right.
So why did it become news? It's like, oh, it's happened before. It's like they drop, hey, yo, it kind of happened before. We didn't want to tell y'all, but we were always paying attention to it. You guys took it to the next level. It kind of reminds me of when the federal government went to Mar-a-Lago for Trump's
Oh
house
yeah.
to take some
Uh-huh.
papers, right? And the
Yep.
reason people knew about it is because Trump called the news network, and news network came through. It's like, oh, yo, they're ransacking his home. It's like, yo, man, like we're about to do this quietly. Like no one's gonna know. We text you 2 weeks ago and say, hey, yo, we just come by to get the letters, all right? Because it happened to Biden a couple weeks ago, and it's like, hey, man, it's like we go and pick up the stuff. And I was like, all right, go ahead. Then the media's like, you want to counter? It's like, yo, how
Right.
come we didn't get as loud as when Trump was doing it? It's like, yo, because this is what government officials do. It's
Happened to
regular.
Pence too.
Like you just guys looking for news. Just to say something on the news is a news cycle. So
Right. It's 24-hour news cycle, Bastion. You need something.
why I find this funny is because of the whole espionage, the whole spyness. It's not like America has like hundreds of military bases surrounding China in every other country around there. So you got Philippines, Japan, like all those countries around China. This is a military base, and we worried about spy balloon. It's kind of silly.
Really,
I
really,
think it's
Bastion.
super silly because there's more ways, there's better ways, more well-funded ways to spy in the United States, and not using a weather balloon. What is this? 1820? Come on, man. Am I wrong to say it's silly?
Um, yeah, yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong for having that opinion of using a balloon. But the reason why they used the balloon was because apparently, it was harder for them to pick up the any sort of satellite. It's harder for the satellites to pick up the balloon because of how low the balloon was in traveling to the US to get the surveillance of what the US is doing militarily wise. I think that was the reason that that the U.S. projected onto us of why
Oh,
the
actually, I
Chinese
like that term. They projected that idea because I would
projected
have
that
done it
idea.
too, right? Is that what the U.S. is saying? If I were to do
That's
it
what
with the balloon, this is how I've done it.
right. So that was the reason that they gave to us as to why they were using the balloon. And again, China was very sorry about this. But also it just goes to show that, in my opinion, at least, like telling you, man, China's coming, bro. Not like war like esque. Not as of yet, in my opinion. But the fact that China is it's a superpower in its own right, okay, and the way that it's going, the trajectory that the Chinese is going, I'm telling you right now, like I'm telling you, this can be like the superpower to topple the U.S. I'm just saying this can be it, bro. All right, they already got us. We're already hooked on TikTok. Okay, so if they want to do like some South Park Pokemon brainwashing, they can do it. Okay, and we gonna ride with the Chinese. Jin said on 106 in Park, you gonna learn Chinese. Let's not forget. Shout out to Jin.
It's insane. I think the whole thing is blown out of proportion. I do think there is something government wise that should be focused on it, but for it to be in our media spectrum to spectate and call everybody and their moms to be on TV, say, hey, what's your opinion on this for 20 minutes at a
Mm.
time? I think we should end all news cycles, but that's just
You don't
me.
think China's trying to get some intelligence from the U.S. bashing? You don't
I
think so?
think
You
I
don't
think
think
U.S. is getting some intelligence from every country in the world. How are we
that's not the
feeling
question I
about that?
asked?
How are
Of
we
course we
feeling
do
about
that.
that?
We gangsters bashing. You
We
know this,
it's
okay? You
embarrassing if it
know this.
happens to us, or are you embarrassed if you
Of
get caught?
course.
Hmm?
I say the latter of both. Okay, we're not supposed to let this happen. See, we letting our guard down. Okay, America's bullies. We supposed to be being the bullies.
Uh,
Okay, we're not supposed to let the Chinese come
that's
to
pretty much
our
it.
area and
And
let
use
them
our
let them.
tactics on us.
Right.
Like I
Exactly.
invented these tactics. All right, I wrote the book.
Exactly, Bastion. We wrote the book, so how dare you
All these
try to read
documents are
my chapter?
declassified 50 years later. I did that.
Exactly. Exactly, Bastion. And that's
Nasty
why
work.
you see a lot of news reporters and a lot of politicians and stuff talking about it. Because how dare they do what we do? Okay. We do what we do and we do it better. Okay. Let's not forget what this is, B. Okay. It's America. America, damn it.
Yo, man. Maybe just
As my
advertising for the
glasses were made in
recruiters.
China.
Yo, that just helps out for the sales recruiters. That's what I call them, the salesmen. So, yo, man, you see, China's out here. They got the balloon. We kind of need young people like you. How old are you? 19 in college? Yo, we can pay for that. Just come through, sign this paper
Hmm.
for me real quick. We'll work out, then send you out next month. Right?
Hey, take a chin up bar test. Let's see how many chin ups you can do.
Don't worry about it. We'll get you strong. We'll get you strong by the end of the week. Be real good. You know? So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing, let's talk about New York. You know, you're out there. I thought this was interesting that you posted it because then of course TikTok, they know what I want before I know what I want. And they
Yeah.
showed me pictures of the MTA train.
Yes.
So why don't you get into that?
Sure. So, the MTA spent about $1.3 billion on creating new subway carts for, and they're supposed to be coming out
Wait, how
as
much?
early as about $1.2 billion.
Nah,
dollars.
more.
Yeah, it's around that area, man.
6 billion.
Oh God. Okay. So, anyways,
They
um,
got 2.8 billion from the federal government.
oh God. That makes this worse. But anyways, we can be seeing these carts as early as spring 2023, and the reason why the new design has been getting a lot of attention is due to the more of an open concept with these carts. So typically, when you're in a subway cart, you have two doors, and you can open a door to go inside of another cart. All of that is going to be stripped away. Basically, we're going to have an open concept train cart now, so it's going to be one large train cart, and you can go from the front to the
No,
back.
that's not
So
how it works, bro. That's not
and
how it works.
there's going to be a lot of seats that are going to be taken away. I'm doing this the TikTok way.
It's
All
not. It's
right.
not going to be from the front to the back. It's like every two or three. I think it's every two.
Okay. Well, every two
Yeah,
carts,
cards.
they're going to be more connected
You
together. So it's going to be of an open concept
know what it's
for every
called?
two carts.
It's a weird term.
What's it called?
Gangways.
Interesting.
So there's two. Yeah, it's going to be the regular ones. It's going to be still be updated.
Hmm.
Where it's just regular carts. How many carts? Like nine, right? It's like nine carts
Yes.
per train. And then we'll have the gangway carts, which is the one you were talking about, where you could cross into another cart.
Yes.
It looks like a bus when you have those double decker bus, not double decker bus, those long buses
With the
with the
accordion
accordion in the
attachment.
middle, which is very
Hmm.
weird to like be on. I kind of wrote some notes on it, which is some like interesting updates. One, it's like wider doors
Hmm.
on wider aisles, digital displays, security cameras inside the subway.
Yeah, we
Shout out
talked
to the
about that
facial
before.
recognition software so they know where you are. Um,
Drake.
you know, priority seating for those with disabilities. I think
Hmm.
that's long. I think they should have put that years ago. But I'm glad they're adding it now. A couple thumbs up for this. Like I said, the open door style is called gangway, so you can get to the other side. And it was supposed to come a little earlier, but there was a lot of delay in supply chain and labor issues. But as you said, it should be ready sometime this year. Are you excited for these new trains?
Uh, eh, I'll see what it's like when I get on them. Hopefully, I know I saw the F train was like one of the first train carts to have these. So, I don't take the F train, so whatever. But we'll see because we're gonna get 100 of these new carts. So when I get in one, I guess we'll see how that goes. It's sort of like how they changed from like the color carts back in like the late 90s to the early 2000s to the cars that we see today.
The
Um, you know,
monochrome
right.
gray,
Yes.
boring, but LED lights everywhere.
So I
Fluorescent
guess,
LED.
when we get to the new carts, I guess I'll see how they are. I'll take a walk around and see what happens. But a lot of people are concerned about these new carts because they're eliminating some seats, of course, so they can put in so more people can squeeze their way in because the trains have been it's been ridiculous during rush hours time. I ain't gonna lie to you. But also another concern was, of course, the homeless. Um, Sometimes homeless like to be in the carts and live in the carts sometime, and so a lot of white people were concerned that what if since we're gonna have the gangway the gang style carts or whatever, they it's gonna be
Gang
harder for them
style.
to they're gonna have it's gonna be a harder time for them to escape,
The
the
smell.
mentally ill person or the smell or all that stuff too.
As
So
someone in LA that takes the train station, there are gangway trains here in
mhm.
LA. I think maybe the first two carts is connected, and the back carts are connected, and the middle's all separate. And yes, you cannot escape that smell, which sucks because it's strong. I personally would say it's worse here in LA.
Oh
Um,
yeah, y'all must be. Yeah, y'all are. That's a different breed over there.
and
Respect to them though.
and it's not designed. And this is something I was trying to get out because it was my stop, and I literally brushed against two people because there's
Mhm.
no. I'm a skinny guy, and there's no way around it, and everybody's sitting down because LA trains aren't really designed for people's comfort, right? It's kind of designed for you to feel as uncomfortable as possible so you could eventually get a car, right? That's
That
my
is
that's my take.
rude.
That's my take on it. So looking at this design, I could say this one is designed for space and mobility. So we will have less people brush up on each other when it's during the rush hour because you got that's something that you got to learn in New York. Your legs are just going to get stronger out of nowhere because sometimes you just won't have a place to hold. There's no bar for you to hold on to, and that train's running at like 60 miles an hour. So you're just going to learn to skateboard and surf at the same time.
Absolutely.
But LA definitely does have those type of trains. In my opinion, I don't think gangways are a great thing. It's unnecessary. Stylistically, it looks beautiful. I don't know how long it can stay clean, especially the.
Exactly.
But other than that, I am pretty excited for the R211 train, and that's what it's going to be called. So, yeah,
Huh. R211 train. All right. Um,
yeah,
is there anything else you wanna mention before we head out real quick?
yes. Kyrie Irving has left Brooklyn. How do you feel about your favorite hotel?
All right. I like to answer this question with another question, if you will, Bastion, because I've noticed this about you and a lot of our mutual friends, right?
Shout
Because
out to
whenever
Mike.
there's something, shout out to Mike, okay? Because whenever there's something wrong going on in Nets world, okay, you like to bring it up on this show, okay? You never want to talk about how the Nets are number two in the conference. You never want to talk about the good that was been going on in the Nets when Kyrie and KD and Steve Nash decided to stay. You never wanted to talk about that, okay? You wanted to talk about when Steve Nash was gone from the Nets and
Because
and the
he should
fact
have
that
never stayed. It was
Ime Udoka
embarrassing that they
couldn't be.
both wanted to be out in the
Please,
summertime.
please, Bastion, let me finish. You never wanted to talk about the fact that when Steve Nash got fired, the fact that Ime Udoka is going to be probably our replacement coach. You want to talk about all the negative stuff, but whenever it came to positive things happening in the Nets, you never wanted to talk about it. Okay, I don't bring up the Knicks all the time. Huh? I don't do that to y'all. Okay, it's easy. It's like low hanging fruit. But whenever the Nets do something positive, oh no, let's not talk about the Nets. That's what I noticed about you. Okay, and the fact that Kyrie is gone, it hurts. Okay, because I stuck with Kyrie through everything. Okay, everything. When he didn't want to get vaccinated, I was there. Okay, I applauded Kyrie to stick to his guns. All right. When he came back to Boston, they started booing him and all that. I was there for Kyrie. Okay.
They lost
When
every game in Boston since then.
when he got in trouble recently and all the damn Hebrew Israelites were there.
Anti-Semitic Hebrew
Yeah.
Israelite documentary on Amazon.
When they were all there, you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm rooting for Kyrie still. And what do we get out of this? Kyrie crying. That's what I call him, Kyrie Irving. Okay, we got nothing out of this. He was injured for like half of the season, so he didn't get to play. And I'm sick of this. All right, he gave us nothing, and we gave him so much, and we got nothing in return. And
How
I'm
many
sick of
playoff
Kyrie.
wins did Kyrie win for the Nets?
Not many.
Zero. It's zero.
Zero.
It's literally
Nets.
zero.
Nothing.
So
Nada. He gave us nothing. So screw Kyrie. Okay. Now he wants to go. Then he was like, oh, I want to get traded before deadline. And then he got his wish, of course. He got his wish. Now, good riddance, Kyrie. Screw you. Okay. Screw you. Okay. You hurt my feelings. Okay. After everything I've done for you, after all the defense I came on this damn platform for you, Kyrie. When Bachelor was like, no, Gio, that's wrong. Kyrie shouldn't be doing this, okay? When Kendrick Lamar was like, you know what? I doubted your ass, Kyrie, when I got COVID, all right? I was there for you, Kyrie. I was there for you.
you have
And
to
look how you did
Kendrick
me.
Lamar
Look how you
shout
treated
out.
me.
Disrespect, disrespect. You know who else felt disrespected? Lakers organization. Because apparently they had a good deal for them, and Nets was like, nah, I'm not going to satisfy Kyrie and what he wants to send him back to LeBron James. I'm sending him to Dallas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Out of all
Right.
places.
Abortion's illegal.
Yeah.
Good luck. Strap up, baby.
He's married, bro. Anyways,
So what? I don't care.
anyways, he's good friends with Luca. He likes Luca anyway, so I think he should be fine in Dallas. It will
No,
be
watch
very,
yourself, Luca.
it,
Okay, because Kyrie's gonna do the same damn thing. All right, you be wary of him. He's loyal to no one but him damn self. Okay, so don't even do this. Remember the whole thing. Oh, I want to go where KD's gonna go. Well, I want to leave with KD. So if KD's gonna go here, I'm gonna go here too. I'm Kyrie Irving.
you know what's funny? People were asking how does KD feel about it. It's like all other teams was like, you think KD's gonna stay? You think you don't mind sign with us? Like, come on, man. I'm trying to. It's like, how's your friend doing?
And now
Embarrassing.
KD's gonna leave too. But hey, welcome back, Spencer Dinwiddie. Welcome
You
home.
know what that
You
means?
know,
Brooklyn has gone absolutely nowhere. We said we're the new New York, and now they're back to where they are. Nothing. Now, let's talk about LeBron James is now the greatest of all time. Well, he's always the greatest of all time, but he beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and now he owns the leadership for the most scoring of all time. It was
that's right.
a beautiful, beautiful game. They lost, and
I knew you were gonna say that. It's
and
not about that, Bastion.
Lakers game has always been terrible. OKC is a very fun team to watch. Very young team. Shai Alexander is just an amazing player.
Oh,
Um,
Bastion.
Giddy was just smacking them around. It was embarrassing, man. It was embarrassing.
It's
Uh,
not about that,
my
Bastion. It's about
favorite
the significance.
moment has to be when LeBron beat the record and they stopped the game, brought the parade in. Everybody was on the floor. Adam Silver came, said shout out to you. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gave LeBron the ball, and it just
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful. And then the game, after a few minutes, everybody got off the court. Then the game started again, and man, OKC wanted a 10-0 run. Woo! It was nasty, man. It was nasty. But also kind of reminds me of when Stephen Curry beat the record for the most threes. They did the same thing. They kind of
Mhm.
paused, took pictures and stuff. But they won that game. Lakers lost.
It's not about them losing this, Bastion. See. That's what y'all don't
See,
get.
that's why
Okay,
they try to get
not like
Kyrie, but it didn't work because no
that's
one
what
wants the
y'all don't.
Lakers to ever win again. So why would I
Okay,
give them a good player?
it's it's the fact that everyone wants to bring up. Oh yeah, they lost that game, but it's about the significance
Of the
of the
losing.
game.
Man,
It's just
LeBron
the
James is in
significance
a
of
terrible
the game.
team during the best time, the most sophisticated LeBron. He is smart. He's experienced. He could do. He looked like he had another 10 years in him, and he's in a garbage team. Oof, embarrassing. He should have stayed in Cleveland. All right, let's wrap it up today. Grammy talk. The most embarrassing thing about the Grammy is Harry Styles winning Album of the Year. I think that's probably like the biggest twist. Um,
Another slap in the face of Beyonce and Bad Bunny.
yeah, it was weird. But other than that, hey Gio, let's close out the show. All you
Sure.
after I diss
Uh,
your team of Brooklyn
yeah,
Nets, a terrible
you wanted to get
organization that
that in
should
there.
be sold to another person and sent to New Jersey.
Thank you all again for tuning in to Black Seinfeld, the show about nothing. If you enjoy this episode, please hit us up, blackseinfeldny@gmail.com. Follow us on all of our social medias at Black Seinfeld NY. That's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram as well. Like and comment on our YouTube page, Black Seinfeld NY. We'll see you again next week on the second to last episode here at WBAI. And since we talked about LeBron, I think it is fair that we go out to the 2009 classic. I re-listened to this and boy, it does not hold up. Drake featuring Kanye West, Lil Wayne, and Eminem with Forever. Let's go back to 2009 and just let's reminisce how cool this song was
It
initially,
doesn't
and
hold
now
up. No way.
nah, it don't. It's not that great anymore. I'll play it. We're gonna play the whole record. Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.